Good afternoon, everyone. Everyone can hear me? Is that? I'm Greg Robinson. I'm the chief curator. I have what I feel is the best job in the whole entire world. I'm here working at BIMA with all of the diverse art and artists that we have the honor of working with to show their work. Over the years, I've known Denise Harris since we opened the building, and we've become good friends. She's infectious. It's hard to stay away from her, as I think many of you know. And although her work, there's a lot of, there's just a lot of fun and humor in her work. It's some of the most masterful art that I have ever had the honor to be associated with and curate and learn more about. Denise, for those who may not know, has all of the skills of a master metalsmith and works at a level that a lot of jewelry artists never even are able to attain. And so just understanding her process and all of the materials and her entire history, personal history that goes into her work. This show is called Art Untethered, and it is, she is, of course, the art isn't so untethered. It's masterful. I think it's more the artist that you just have to kind of pull back in and. But it's also been a joy because she's able to articulate her art so well, not just the processes, but the vision, and you'll hear a lot more about that. This is one of the craziest shows I've ever curated from the point of view of such a mix. You might think it's a group show if you didn't know her history and her work. If you went up and down the community gallery, you might think it's work by many different artists. And in a way it is. I think about all of the different facets and phases of her life and the different things she's done. And from the early printmaking and her business in that area to these miniature worlds that it's not just a piece of art in my mind. She's taken you somewhere else. With every piece you see, you feel that you're in an entirely new world. And I want to thank all of the collectors who've donated their work or lent their work to this show. Donated is another conversation we'll get into. And so that was a little bit of a slip, but oh well. Before Denise gets up here, she's a little shy, just be kind of kind to her. But I do want to acknowledge the land that we've gathered on. And I'm going to digress a bit from the typical land acknowledgement, which is very important, and just say that how grateful BIMA is for the ongoing partnership with the Suquamish tribe. We have had 3 major exhibitions with them over the years that have not only been guest curated in partnership with me and my staff, but also the Suquamish Foundation has donated funds so that we could actually purchase indigenous work that's not necessarily Suquamish artists. It was to support the overall goal we had to embrace the region. And with the indigenous shows, you may see the phrase, we go into the Salish Sea. Typically, the art that I curate is from the Puget Sound region. That's the main mission of BIMA's exhibitions. And then, of course, we have this amazing gem of a collection, the Cynthia Sears Artist Books Collection, which is international. And by the way, has over 3,000 artist books. When I was first hired, it was 200 or 300 Cynthia thought that she had. So it's a true treasure and unique in a lot of ways of its access to the public. But when we talk about the indigenous shows, in conversation with the Suquamish tribe, they thought that we should go up into British Columbia and also include the Strait of Georgia. So the Salish Sea is basically geographically, and it's a fairly new designation, but the Puget Sound, the Strait of Juan de Fuca, and the Strait of Georgia. So you'll be hearing more about that. But I want to give tremendous thanks for all of the support from the Suquamish tribe. I'm really indebted to them for not only how they've helped us so far, but also how this relationship and partnership continues to grow and opens up new possibilities. So without further ado, it's my joy, actual joy, and to introduce Denise Harris.
I know all of you. Well, here we go. Since I've spent my life creating a variety of art, it has been a real challenge to figure out how to present something in an organized manner. So taking that into consideration, I present Random Acts of Art Untethered. Here I am at 13 years old, and my grand prize entry out of 115 in the annual Pacific Palisades Halloween window painting contest. Following that big win, I went to Art Center College of Design. I got a master's degree from Cal State LA and was married. Because my husband Everett and I moved into a haunted castle in the Hollywood Hills, Halloween became a major holiday. Everett, this is the costume for one of our annual Halloween parties. That's the haunted castle, excuse me. That would have been hard to build. Anyway, that's the house that we lived in, and it truly was haunted. Anyway, this is the costume for one of the annual Halloween parties, the theme that year being woodland creatures. In the early years, I taught school, and among other subjects, jewelry making. This is a pipe. Yeah. One winter break, we took a ski trip to Tahoe that resulted in Everett and I purchasing a rundown bar in Kings Beach, North Shore, which became the Cantina Los Tres Hombres. I created the graphics, which included matchbooks, belt buckles, a leaded mirror back bar, and walls completely covered with a jungle theme. When we split up, Everett got the restaurant, and I moved to Bainbridge Island, bought my property in Winslow, and converted the Hall Brothers home into Flying Penguin design. I learned screen printing from a friend of my brother's and became good enough to be hired by a company for whom I had a staff and created thousands of fine art serigraphs, many of them embossed. This is an example of one of them. So in order for you, because I had those years of teaching, I wanted to show you how to screen print. So I have to, there you go. So you start with a film positive. And I think maybe this picture is out in the hall, in the gallery, I'm not sure. But so there is a film positive for every one of the colors that you print. So you can see that you print one color at a time and you make a screen for each of those colors. So this is the gold screen. Anyway, moving right along. Got that? So this is a screen, and it's the only one I could actually find down at the place in Winslow, so it's a little beat up here. So this is a screen, and through a photo process, you end up having the place where the ink goes through. And then you need a squeegee, and this is the only squeegee I could find. It isn't even mine, but anyway. So this happens to be the background of this piece. So this is the big part of it. So you have to have a squeegee big enough to pull that. This is also what they call a blend, so it goes from a lighter color to a darker color. So you poured two different colors of ink, blended them together, and then took the squeegee and went across that screen and printed the color onto it. Alrighty. That's screen printing. Then a lot of the work was embossed. So this is one of the things that has just been screen printed. So it's just the background. And then this is what it is when it is embossed. You can see that there's like a raise. And these are the plates that, this happens to be the plate that was used to do this piece. So you did this part, you sprayed it with water, you lined it up over this, and you put it through a press, that had a big roller, and it embossed the image onto the thing. So, there you go. All right, so this is flat art. This was a printed piece that we did. This boat was used in the Wooden Boat Festival one year. They used my work to do the advertising for the Wooden Boat Festival. Oh, there's the piece. That's the one I was showing you, that all the film positives. That is the piece. The gold being the edges. This was a companion piece to it. I did it in 2 colorways. So this kind of went with that other one, but there was a set that were in these very pastel colors. There's a fish jumping out of water. Here's a boat reflecting. Here's trees reflecting in the water. Then we get to the embossed thing. And unfortunately, in these slides, it's really hard to see the embossing. But there was a whole series of boats that had embossed sails on them, and you could see them. Pelicans. The edges of the pelican thing, that was like a placemat or something that was all the little lines around the edges. Oh, they're actually easier to see up big. I'm going, anyway. This is a companion piece to a piece that's out in the gallery, and this went with it. So if you want to go back out there, this one also was embossed. This tree is on the Nakata property that's at Wyatt and not Lovell, the big where they have all the greenhouses. This apple tree is on that property, and this piece is probably 30 years old. And that tree's still there, so it's pretty cool. Older. Yeah, oh, there you go. Okay. After moving away from fine art serigraphs, I printed, among other things, switch plate covers sold by the Nature Company and match holders sold by Disneyland. As time went on, I did more and more graphic design, and working with my colleague Nancy Wilkins, designed and then screen printed thousands of t-shirts and posters for a myriad of customers, for reunions and clubs and businesses, the Downtown Association, TNC Markets. My brother got these shirts from me because he paints. And so when I said I was giving this talk, he said, I should give you back some of those shirts, take pictures of some of those shirts to just give an idea of, this is a shirt, we did something wrong. And so it was used to test the screens when we were printing them. So it's interesting. It's got That's a Sun Pizza, and it's got a 50-year reunion, and there's Camp Siberia, and Bainbridge Tennis. God, we did a lot of pizza stuff, I guess. Anyway, one of our more interesting projects was a series of 10-foot, 2-sided banners hung from the ceiling at Central Market in Paulsbo. And they were 2-sided, and these are not great pictures because they were taken looking up at them, but anyway. So there was a front to each of them, and then there was a back, having to do with fish, having to do with cheese. But they were pretty fun to do. Yeah. And there's the cow.
Where are they now?
I don't know. Central Market took them, I don't even know when Central Market took them down, but they were up for years. And they would take them down and have them cleaned and stuff, so they did do things. There you go.
What were they on, Denise?
Muslin. Pretty hard surface.
Maybe an old store, right?
I don't know. No, the new store, the one in Paulsbo. Yeah. All right. These years were interspersed with a variety of unrelated projects. Funny thing. This is Bob and my late husband and myself. That's at the treehouse that we built, that thing that's on the back. And Steve Neff, who's here, can tell the story because the big metal parts that are on the side, he connected to the wall, but drilled into the freezer or something. There you go. And then I also carved all the signs that were down in Linwood. This was my favorite, Pandamore. And here's O'Connor Architects. And then with Steve Neff, he got this crazy idea to make a bench for the Historical Society. So I did the artwork that is on that bench, and it's somewhere. Yeah. Random carvings. This is a little hard to see. I designed the papers for this concertina. And so it has the harp and just kind of Irish design on it, but it's pretty neat. And this concertina belongs to a friend, and so it's kind of a cool thing. This is what? The concertina? Oh, they're little. Well, there's one out there.
Oh, but that one is tiny, isn't it?
No,
So Denise, tell me about your friend.
Yeah, is that in Ireland?
that was that's the Noel Hill is his name, and I played the concertina. Right. Anyway, they're doing that because a group of us, some of which are here, went to Scotland and Ireland. And because I know Noel and he lives in Galway, I contacted him and said, could I bring my 14 best friends over to your house? And he said, sure. So we went to his house, and it was a wonderful experience. His house is wonderful. And then he played for us. And he is probably the best player in the world. He is a very, very accomplished Noel Hill. And you can look him up on YouTube. You can see him. He's wearing his hair long now. I don't like it. This stained glass window from years ago, and obviously it was taken in the studio because it has all that stuff on the front. This was for my nephew, and it's kind of hard. Well, I guess you can see it larger. Luca, when he was born, I carved that little thing for him just because, it's pretty big. It's that big. This is out in the show, but this table got built. It is a table, and this was the wood from that same table. So it was pretty cool. I put the ukulele that I made and put it on the table where it fit the design of the table. And then I did the comedy tragedy masks that are at BPA. Yeah, there you go. Let me see, where are we here? All right, well, while I was doing flying penguin stuff, I was also building my little small sculptures. The process I go through to create these three-dimensional works there, that's be interesting. So here is the thing, a picture is worth 1,000 words part. And I didn't know what order to do these in, but there you go. This is called a riveting adventure. And that is the final piece. This is how it started. So that's like a little loaf of wood, and with my little drawing in the background. So, it was like, well, somewhere along there, the magic happens, I guess. Anyway. And then my friend Jane Field is in the corner back there, who did work for me, and she was the one that embossed all these pieces, actually. And a lot of the pieces out there are from her house because she had them framed. So, hi, Jane, could I use your work? Anyway, okay, I digress. Okay, this is a piece that's also out there, and it's called Full Metal Jacket. And it is a yellow jacket pulling the tablecloth off a table, so everything's falling over. But this is kind of where it started. I know that thing in the center that's striped was a finial from a light. This is Star Maker machinery, which it's a neat piece. It's a who is it? Joni Mitchell song, yeah, behind the popular song. So they're the parts that were. Yeah, I don't even know where that thing over there, what that was from. Anyway, my house is filled with that kind of stuff. Look at this little part, the little part that is the sides for the boat, because it comes up again in a bit.
Denise, are you a collector that has drawers full of little things?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Having trouble keeping up with all of them, This piece was vices, and it was called Vices. Everyone has some. And this was the inside, so it had handcuffs and, had food on the top and a thing that kind of looks like a concertina. Yeah. Okay. This show was called 1963, so I did a little television set. And notice that it's Thursday on Mickey Mouse Club was Anything Could Happen Day, and that was the set for it. And the backside, it kind of looks, it's in black and white because, of course, those were the black and white days, right? Yeah. So this piece is actually called Art Untethered, and that the large thing is a float from a toilet. And I said, look at the little sides on that little ship. Well, that's the middle part that I cut off of this piece when I was making that piece, and I knew it'd be good for something. So I made that the little boat out of that. And this is the center of it. This is how the big center part that you can, the fish part, I guess you'd say. And this little guy is holding all different kinds of art forms. He's holding a paintbrush, and it's got music, it's got a book. So he's got kind of the arts that he's representing. The Much To Do About Nothing has to do with fruitcake, which I don't like at all, and nobody knows that inside this is a big fruitcake inside the building. It's out there in the show. But the bottom floor has a fruitcake in it. And actually, it's designed, the roof comes off of it, and you can put a tea light in it and actually have it light up in the bottom, but who's going to do that? So this is the process that I went through. It was sheets of copper and nickel silver. So that's the pieces just cut up, not really sanded or anything, or filed or anything, but that was that. And then this is what it looked like after it all got soldered together and was still pretty rustic. And then put together into a box form. You can see that the fruitcake isn't in the building yet. All right, so this is called radio waves. And as almost all of you know, Bob did wood cutting down and stuff. So, my property's littered with things like this. So I would go out and find whatever piece of wood I wanted for whatever project I'm working on. So radio waves, the top part of it is the natural part of the wood. And this is it. When I started, there's a little boat up in the upper left. And there is a mirror out there, but the back side of it actually is open, and there's a little person drowning in the backside. Yeah, there you go. Oh well. This is thinking out of the box, and it's out there, and it's a pretty large piece for me. But I don't know. Who knows? I had the box forever, and one day I thought, well, I'm going to do something with that. This particular piece is actually the wave from that piece. So this is the wave that it's a natural piece of wood, and that's how it started. And I cut it and made it, the wave. And then this is the starting of the fish. And you can see that the tail part of it is just natural wood. So it's really thick too. Yeah. So there it is after I've actually carved it down and started to cover it. And I use really thin layers of brass and copper and, I don't know, this must be aluminum, I think, the silver part. So that's the idea of how that happened. Then the magic happens. And then this is the Poe piece. Poe's Crow, it's called. And actually, I like this piece a lot. It's one of my more favorite things that I've done. It's actually copper. And so the whole thing is made out of copper, and you oxidize it, and it turns black. So this is my workshop, and there's all the feathers laid out on the table. And if you look kind of on the right side, you are looking, there's the box also, you are looking at this. So it's just some hunk of wood that I cut up till I could get it to kind of glue together. And I'm putting the copper and whatever on it, and that's the head is there. But after it was all cut and done, I had all those copper pieces which I oxidized and made black. Oh, this is one of the windows, that from the window it's copper also. This one is, it's called Look John Deere. Look John Deere. It's a sled. And it was a takeoff on a John Deere tractor. So it's Look John Deere. It's a sled. Anyway, so there's all the random drawings that happened on the way to becoming that piece. It was pretty fun. This one is called Chicken of the Sea. Yeah. And it's the Savornich family, you know, they're fishermen, and they do tuna. So and they're big cans. So I use one of their cans to do this. So that's the beginning of it. You can see the very creative and detailed drawing of the chicken. And there's the oars, and then, you know, so actually the boat is pretty realistic. It's got a place to sit, and it's got a rudder and, you know, stuff. So there it is. Same thing. I did oxidize part of this because the tail is black. But those are the little pieces that are, you know, going on the chicken as it goes along. So that is, it's a Neapolitan. It's like Napoleon. I guess that's it. And I named the boat Bumblebee, even though it's Chicken of the Sea. Well, speaking of Christmas, I have, for the last 44 years, made an art print at Christmas, which I give to my friends. The first ones were etchings, this one, for instance. And for years, they were then screen printed, which you know now how to do that now because I obviously taught you. And until 2003, when I switched to doing them in colored pencil, and then I have them printed. During all these years, an interesting metamorphosis has taken place. The first prints were just kind of pictures. And then as the years have gone by, the art became kind of a visual representation of the thrills and travels and adventures that occurred through that year. So this one's called Humbug, the Christmas issue, lightening the load. He's throwing stuff off the back of the, yeah. This is the shadows no. You can kind of see, it says Noel in the shadows, so it's called the, you know, yeah. Hanging around till Christmas. Yeah, these are a little, yeah, this is Christmas is just around the corner. And the early ones, gosh, it may have a date on it. Yeah, it says 90 there. I didn't put dates on them for a while. And then when I did, it made it a lot easier because then I kind of knew what year they were, right? But, yeah, there you go. All right, reflecting on Christmas. Yeah. And these early ones were pretty odd shapes because I was doing all this serigraphy. I was doing all these fine art things, and so I would cut long pieces off the edges of these big pieces of paper when I was doing an edition. So that kind of made some of these pretty random. So, yeah. All righty then. Okay, so this kind of started, then they started to become more personal. And Bob and I were both in Godspell, and I rode a unicycle in it. So that's kind of representative of what was happening that year. And maybe we did the Jesus toss, I don't know. Yeah, could be. Yeah. Round red squares, of course, has to do with the collaboration that BPA did with Russia. And we took the kids from here and did a play there. And so round red squares kind of represented that. This was actually the cover of a pop-up book, and that we then did, you know, instead of, that I did as a print, but it is actually the cover from a book. Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of playthings in it, though. I guess it had to be more serious, you know. Yeah, it is Puss. I was Puss. I was Puss in Puss in Boots. That's the reason why I guess that's in there. I don't know. This one was called Balls, and it's a takeoff on Escher, but it's the year that we built the living room on the house. So that is kind of the living room. Holy Toledo, it's Christmas. We went to Spain. So, see, I had to write all these down because I can't remember all the titles, but you know, they all had, they kind of had fun titles. So I thought we should at least hear the titles because this is Iconoclast, and that's because we went to Greece. The Ship of Yules is out there. You can see me. I didn't have this one because it was out there, so I took a picture of it out there, and you can see me in the picture and the picture that's in the wall behind it. But This year we were both in Peter Pan, and so that's what the Ship of Ewells. Yeah. We went to Guatemala, so this kind of has a Guatemala feel to it, and I think it's the year that we got Gypsy, our dog, and so we must have gone to Hawaii because you can see some of those prints are a little bit. Oh, and a reunion. The third one up from the bottom is the Amestoy brand, and so from sheep. So that's, we had something to do with that. Yeah. This is called Dock the Hulls. We went down the coast of Croatia, and Bob loved boats, so we went on all of those boats at some point, or he'd just hang out, down by the harbor. This is Folly La La La, and this was the folly of the gypsy wagon. Yeah. This one wasn't as successful, but the whole thing was, this is the real Christmas issue, it's called, and this was at 2000. This is pretty interesting. These are not quite in the order that I thought they would be, but anyway. This one's called Haute Air Claws. So it's French because we were in France and we went on a hot air balloon. There's a concertina flying off of it too. There you go. Okay, so this is when I started doing them in colored pencil. And it was pretty fun to not have to limit how many colors they were because now I had all the colors in the box. So this was the first one. And I started playing the concertina kind of, in this one. This is Leap of Faith, and we went to India. So this represented that. And then there's the Peddling the Holidays. We went with some friends through Sweden and Denmark on bicycles. Yeah. Yeah. The Caravan of Caprice, this was the trip to Egypt. I like this one a lot. And it was the World Cup also, so I know we went to Germany and did other stuff. It's actually pretty interesting to look at them because I'm thinking, well, I wonder why I did that. We were in some kind of show because the comedy tragedy masks reappear over and over. This is going to Val d'Isère and running into or being run into on my skis. And so the rest of the trip I was in a brace and blah, blah, blah. So anyway, but I like the concertina in this one. It's pretty wild. God, I guess I got money too. Yum. Oh, yeah. I don't know why that has that toilet plunger. Oh, the other thing I did, I got smarter, and I started writing about them. And so the backs of the later ones actually have the writing of so I could actually go back and find out what I don't remember. This one, what is this called? Yeah, I was just saying I can't read it because, but I keep trying to find my place here because carting off the goods, I think it's called. And this was a trip to China where we went to the very west side of China to the Uyghur country. So this is a Uyghur wagon, and that's a Uyghurman. Mexico, and it's kind of like a piñata, I guess you'd say. It's the year my dad died. I know that because it was 2009, and that's why that's there, because he was born in 2017. And I must have been I was doing artwork because there's a jeweler's saw there at the bottom. Oh, we were in the producers. That's what the swastika represents, was being in that show. There's the concertina again. Water relief, it's Christmas. This was Angkor Wat. And, the rock is all carved. And so this is a kind of a takeoff on that, but it has, the Christmas things are, in what they're holding and stuff. So it has a little of both. I don't know about the lobster. This one is called Adrift, and this was going down the Amazon. And there's my ukulele, so that was probably when I built it. Anyway. This is called a hands-on favorite. And this was, India again. And that's the year I got my Audi. And I didn't get an iguana, so I don't know why that's there, but oh well. Oh, and was involved with ice cream sandwiches, this truck that we did called Sweet Wheels. And so that's actually an ice cream sandwich that he's holding in his hand. This is the year Bob died. And so it's got fish and things in it. Oh, that's the year I made the Art Untethered, because there's the float, and it's floating, wouldn't you know it? I went to Morocco, so that's a Bedouin. Is that it? Yeah. Is that it? Bedouin tent with the guy sitting. It's called Merchant of Memories. And so he's selling off things that I did, I guess. Went to Israel and Palestine, actually. And of all the places I've gone, boy, that was then. It was the most confusing. And almost all of us went into Palestine. Some went home after Israel. And if you had gone home, you think, wow, they've done so much. It's incredible. But when you went into Palestine, you realized, you know, what was happening there. And it was pretty eye-opening. And, you know, you just go home not being able to think of what you could do. And, you know, look where we are now. It's pretty incredible. This is Tinkering with Life, which is South America. And that's Mocha, the dog that I now have, that's there. And, you know, places, we went to Italy and, I don't know, what's Switzerland? Who knows? Anyway, Riches, this is Hawaii, an underwater one. I did the crow piece then, because there's the crow. Winds of Change, this is, went across the top of Spain to Santiago. And, of course, I found out as an adult that Santiago made St. James. You know, darn, away with language. Yeah. This is called Flight Plans, and it has little pins stuck all over it because I know we went down the coast of Croatia, and I was, there's in the United States. I was in San Francisco and probably Ashland. This is the one from COVID, and it's called The Presents, but the presents being COVID, not Christmas presents. And another one, I had to take a picture of it out in the hall there, and it's a much darker piece than this. But someone said, I really like that background. It's like he's inside a house and there's a picture on the wall. Yeah. And so the following year is called Now, and it's the person kind of looking out the door saying, is it safe to be somewhere else than now? And this one is called Back because it's his back. But also this year, I went to Portugal and Spain and Ashland and San Francisco and Hawaii and New York, so, went all over the place. And then this is this last year, and it's a takeoff on a wine label because Wendy O'Connor and moi and my brother and his girlfriend, who has a place in South Africa, invited us to come there, so we did. Didn't see any animals. All we did was go to vineyards and drink. And I don't really drink wine particularly, but they sure did. And so, so the wine label is Dilemma, and it's, red, white. The name of the piece is South Africa. Yeah. Okay, so then there's the train. As a kid, I spent my allowance on models in HO scale of a European village houses, which kind of morphed in over the years into a train set depicting a Christmas wonderland. The mountain layout was always on the floor under our live tree until my husband died. And so there it is. There's the tree set, the tree and the train. I just put this picture in because it's really cool. All the ornaments on the tree are crystal. So or glass, so they all have, it's kind of a fun picture. But then this happened. Yeah, and that's all the broken ornaments there in the front. So it was really not good. So consequently, I had a sturdy metal base and pole made to hold an artificial tree. When COVID hit, I didn't put up that massive 11-foot tree. Instead, I brought the train into the music room, and I put it on sawhorses where you could actually see Superman coming out of the phone booth and Snoopy on his doghouse and the interaction between a priest and a prostitute, etc. And topped the train set with a modest snow-covered 5-foot tree. Now we're going to see how this works. Oh, wait, no, damn it. Let me go back there. Darn, we're going to do this. Let me go one more. There you go. I'll try to point out the prostitute when she comes by. She's at the train station, looking for love in all the wrong places. Okay. So this is the tree at Christmas time anyway. So that's this 5-foot tree, and it has no ornaments on it except a spaceship and a boat that you can kind of see on the right side there. It's like yeah. No, it's not a hot air. Oh, there is a hot air balloon. You're right. Yeah, but on the right side there's a 3-masted boat and it has HO scale people in it. So it's kind of a ride, because the foreground of the piece, actually this on the lower area, there's a circus tent and there's all these rides and stuff there. And there's a lot of penguins on it too. Okay. Anyway, I digress. I still decorate the huge tree, but the train has stayed up in that music room year round. I've recently gone to adding a hotel, because that pole is in the middle of the thing to hold the artificial tree. So I started with that rock under part, and then I bought a model of a town gate, actually. But I made it, that's what it had, a hotel. It was weird. Anyway, so I had that, but I still had more of the pole showing. So I did this and started doing that. Someone gave me a bunch of clock faces. So that was the different parts for that. So here it is as and then so it went from the hotel to the clock to a bell tower. And the bell tower and that roof come off so you can put the tree in. But it's been fun, and of course, particularly my nephews really like to mess with the train. So anyway, this is just a cool picture of it. That's in natural light, so it's pretty neat. It was just the light coming in from outside, but you can kind of get an idea of it. Oh, there's a ski lift too. Yeah. I bought the models. I bought the buildings. Yeah, but I started when I was like 12 years old, building these little buildings. I didn't know what I was going to do with them, but they followed me around. So what are you going to do? Okay, here we're going to try this again. So I thought it was easy. I made this little movie quite a long time ago. He's trying to get the sound to work. He's trying to get the sound to work. He did get it. We did get it yesterday. He's still working. Anyway, I just thought you'd be interested in seeing the process of building it. And I guess I can go on with it. But anyway, you can look at that. It's much more fun. It's much more fun with the sound. Yeah. Well, it gives you an idea of the amount of labor that it takes to do something like that. And then, well, I might as well talk about it since there's no sound there. This was 26 years ago that it started. And it started with this. And I had this, and I said to Bob, you could build a gypsy wagon out of this. So this is in the gypsy wagon. It's in the corner in one of the closets, I guess you'd say. So this is how it started. So because I said that, of course, Bob ended up buying 2 buckboards with the idea of building a wagon from one of them. Turns out you couldn't build a traveler's wagon on a straight axle, which buckboards have. You had to have it on springs. So we traded the buckboard to a person who restored old buggies, and he went to an auction and bought the undercarriage. Then working, how interesting. It's going on without me. Interesting. Huh. Anyway, so we bought the undercarriage, and then I should get it to stop, I guess. Oh, it's going to do that for a while. I'll let you read it, so I won't talk. Janie Ekberg, yeah. I know, Anna. Dana. Yeah. And Aunt Eleanor. She was the money behind it. And it's not sitting in a grove of birch trees exactly. It sits here. Yeah. And then there's a couple of pictures of the inside of it with Janie's just incredible fabric work. And then she calls me one day and says, "Oh, I have some pillows for you." Yeah, there you go. This is an inlaid tabletop, has my initials in the middle, and then it has travel and dogs and trains and music and stuff. And it's got the sun in the morning, and it's got, this is the other, this is looking out towards the front end of it. Anyway, so that's the gypsy wagon. And this is kind of, you know, this is my life in art. So there it is, a lifetime of art untethered. And I end the saga with a recent picture of me wondering what's behind the door. That's it. I can answer questions if you want, you know. But,
Rag paper.
pardon me?
You use rag paper.
Yeah, yes, it's a very heavy, boy, I can pass it around. It's very heavy stock paper. And you had to use a sprayer, and you spray a bunch of them and stack them, and then you had to have it wet, so it was lost.
Maybe you should say those answers from the microphone.
No.
Repeat the question.
Should have taken a front row seat, Joe. I said that the paper's very expensive rag paper. And to do the embossing, you had to spray them down and get them damp. And then you stacked a whole bunch of them. And then they go through, you put each of them, you know, at a time into this mold and run it through a press. But if you didn't wet them, you couldn't get as good three-dimensional thing to it. And there are little marks on this. Let me get this out of the way. There are little marks on this, these little that are telling you where the paper has to sit, because it has to, of course, be lined up, because if it's not lined up, you know, you're kind of, yeah, not going to work. Good question. Glad you asked. It's just cardboard. So the layers of cardboard. So I'd cut out the biggest part, and then I would decide what part's going to be the next level, what's going to be the next level, and the next level, and then, you know. So you have this raised mold.
Do people get to stay in your gypsy wagon?
Yeah. It's pretty fun. It smells really good because it has cedar walls, and it's got it's got an Alaska white cedar ceiling, so it really smells good inside. So that's pretty nice. It is not plumbed, but it's only 50 feet from the house. In the woods where there are bears. Yeah. Anyway.
Denise, I always think of oxidized copper as green. How do you make it black?
You know, it's a solution. It's sulfur. You know, like how eggs turn things, how it tarnishes silverware. You know, eggs. And so this isn't. It's a product that has sulfur. You know, like the same as eggs. It smells like eggs when you do it, but it comes in big blocks that are yellow, and you dilute it and get it into a liquid form, and then you heat it. It's hot when you put the copper pieces in it. The thing that is a little tricky is that you've got, 8,412 feathers, and they all go somewhere. So it's like, So you have to be pretty careful when you're doing it. You have to get them black and get them lined up in the same place, so you've just got, a feather boa. I also designed greeting cards for Dover Publications, and at the studio I have boxes of them. So when you go out there, I've brought 3 different kinds of Christmas prints, the earlier ones that were screen printed, that they made into Christmas cards. And so if you want to take 1, 2, or 3 of them, some of them you have to, I mean, they were in the eaves down at the studio, so, you know, some of them might be a little dusty or something, but I think basically they're good. But take one or a couple of them, it doesn't matter. Just, you know, take them. You can remember the, you know, what fun you had today. So, anyone else? Questions?
Yes. Excuse me, your works include a variety of media. What is it that really inspired you or interested you to work with metal?
Well, I did teach jewelry making when I was a teacher in Los Angeles. And so, and I never have taken a jewelry class actually, but the teacher that was teaching jewelry knew a lot, and she was going to another school. So I would go over, I'd do something, I'd go over and say, now what? And she'd tell me, and I'd go back and teach my classes. I was teaching three-dimensional design and yearbook and stagecraft and stuff, but not jewelry. But, so my jewelry abilities are, kind of limited, but I've always liked miniature things. And if you look at the pieces out here, there are a lot of plumbing parts. I love, they really are. I use them for a lot of things that I do, I find an interesting part and then, work from there. It's like, oh my God, shiny things, I'm easily distracted, is what it comes down to. So
Denise?
Yeah.
If you're making a small thing, how long does it take from beginning to end?
Well, there's an expression in Hawaii called "there's plenty of white sand." So I do nothing until, it's about 6 weeks before something has to be done. Then it takes pretty concentrated effort. I have something that's, sitting on my table at home, and, I go in there and I look at it for 5 minutes and I move things around. It's all plumbing parts right now. They take a while. They do take a while, but I usually have to do them in a concentrated effort towards the end because I've run out of time, run out of white sand. Yeah. Oh, back there.
Denise, how much of your work is done with power tools versus by hand?
If I can use a power tool, I probably will. And the carving, if it has a texture to it, you can't use power tools. You have to use hand tools to do it. But I believe in technology. Anyone else? I think there's some food out there. Yeah. So. Oh my God, no. That would require work, don't you? When you get older, don't you say, God, wow, how did I have all that energy? Like building a gypsy wagon? Oh my God, what was I thinking? Oh, barn. No, no. Oh wait, let me give you an answer. God, no. Anyone else? Going once, going twice. I think there's liquor.